One is, are there any significant differences on the achievement outcome on reading comprehension between the two grouping conditions? And the hypothesis is, there aren't any significant differences on the achievement outcome on reading comprehension between the two grouping conditions. And the second one is, are there any differences on the reading strategy used between the two grouping conditions? And the hypothesis is like, there aren't any differences on the reading strategy used between the two grouping conditions. And the third question is, what are students' learning motivation towards English learning in a cooperative learning group? And now I'm going to introduce the literature review. And I put three important things in this part. And the first one is cooperative learning. Then I'm going to introduce heterogeneous ability grouping and homogeneous ability grouping. And Johnson and Hubler in 1994 indicated that cooperative learning as a way for students to help each other maximize their learning by the instructional use of small groups. And in the last report, I also introduced some features in the cooperative learning. Then now I'm going to do a quickly review. And the first important element is the positive interdependence. And this means that positive interdependence requires students to believe that all group members sink or swim together, which means that everyone in the groups is essential for the success of the group. And the second one is individual accountability. This is used to prevent the free rider because every members in the groups must be accessed independently, and therefore they cannot just rely on their peers, and they themselves have to make some efforts. And the third one is the interpersonal and small group skill, and this actually means the social skill, because we know that we are not born knowing how to interact with other people. Therefore, in cooperative learning, the teacher will teach students how to interact with others. Therefore, if that's so, the teacher can save a lot of time dealing with the interpersonal problems for students, and also students can learn more effectively and efficiently. And face-to-face promotive interaction means that because in cooperative learning, the group has a shared goal. Therefore, the group members in that group must help each other and encourage with each other, and they have to solve the same problems. And the last one is group processing. This is actually like an evaluation process, and this is used for group members to think what they did in the activities and to do some revise for the problems. And for the homogeneous ability grouping is like a way of grouping in which students with similar academic achievement are grouped together. And Feltonson in 1989 indicated that homogeneous ability grouping allows teachers to apply different instruction to the need of students of different academic levels, with an opportunity to offer high achiever more difficult materials and to provide low achievers more support. And for heterogeneous ability grouping, it's not like homogeneous grouping, which means in heterogeneous ability grouping, we put the student with different academic level in the same groups, and hope that by this way they can learn from each others. And also, Johnson in 1985 indicated that high ability students participate and learn as well as in heterogeneous group, and seem to benefit from working with people of diverse ability. And now I'm going to introduce my methodology. And the same, I've divided my participants into two groups. The one is the homogeneous groups, and the other is heterogeneous groups. And I choose my participant from the NTIT, which stands for National Taichung Institute of Technology. And the same for the heterogeneous groups. And the age of my participants are from 19 to 26. And the numbers of participants in the pilot study, totally there are 42 people in the pilot study, and there were 30 in the formal study. And the period of the experiment is about 1 semester. And for the instrument, I'll use the GEPT reading and the listening test, and that is the basic level. And also I'll use the strategy inventory for language learning questionnaire and the motivation questionnaire. And this is the reading test for the GEPT basic level, and there are totally 35 questions in this test. And for the listening test, there are about 6 points in this test. And as for the SEAL questionnaire, I've divided them into 2 parts. The first part is about the participants' demographic information, and then is the questions for the questionnaire. And there are about six parts in this questionnaire. And the same for the motivational questionnaire. The first part is to ask students about their demographic information, and then the following 35 questions is to ask about students' learning motivation. And the SEAL questionnaire is a 5-point Likert scale, and the 1 point stands for the strongly disagree, and the 5 points stand for the strongly agree. And the category of this questionnaire is to ask about students' memory strategies, metacognitive strategies, cognitive strategies, affective strategies, and compensation strategies, and social strategies. And for the motivation questionnaire, it's also the 5-point Likert scale. And the same, the 1 stands for the strongly disagree, and the 5 stands for strongly agree. And this is used to ask about students' integrative motivation and instrumental motivation. And now I'm going to introduce the research procedures. At first, I'll conduct a pilot study. And then after my pilot study, then it's going to the formal study. And I'll divide my participants into 2 parts, which are heterogeneous group and homogeneous group. And in the pretest, I'll give the heterogeneous group reading and listening performance test, that is the GEPT test. And I'll give them a SEAL questionnaire and a motivation questionnaire. And the same for the homogeneous group. And then after the pretest, both groups will receive a reading instruction from the teacher. And then in the end, the pilot test, I'll give them the reading and listening performance test again, and the 2 questionnaires will also be given to the participants. And it's the same for the homogeneous group. And for the data analysis part, I'll use the SPSS version to analyze my data, and I'll use the independent t-test, that is to examine the difference on group, gender, and achiever to student performance and strategy use. And the Pearson correlation is used to examine the relationship between the strategies and motivation. And the Cronbach alpha is used to examine the reliability of